alert.
Hi, welcome back to the Girl Dinner Book Club. I'm Elena. This is Haley. And we are here to talk about a pretty badass little book by Emily Henry called Funny Story that
So
just dropped
excited.
last week, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's only been a couple days, but I mean, it's
Yeah,
Emily
yeah.
Henry, so I
We
was
binged it
ready.
in a day, so
hmm
it was
hmm
immediate. We picked it up and it did not come back down. It was pretty great. So we're here to give you a little review about it
Yeah.
and hope you enjoy it. Before we jump into that, though, you should do the liking and the subscribing and like all
hmm
that kind of thing because it'll make us love you. And then you can like join us to talk about book things because that's fun, you
I
know?
mean, we'll probably love you anyway, but we'd love you considerably more.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I won't love you, but Haley will love you. You need to
She's
subscribe.
mean.
Yeah. But
Also, I got
anyway,
bangs.
yeah, you did get bangs. You
I got
just poofed them
bangs.
out of existence. Good job.
hmm Yes. Don't
I
know if
would
my
clap
boyfriend likes
loudly,
them,
but
but
I don't want them to be like crazy.
yeah, no,
Men don't get to have opinions on bangs, okay? Like
I
they don't
literally
they don't know what's good for them.
I was gonna say, I read an article the other day that was talking about how like the majority of men prefer women to not have bangs, and I'm like, why? Because they hate style. I don't know. Anyway,
Because they
so
lack taste.
so before we jump into everything, we're gonna do what we normally do and read the Goodreads synopsis, and then we'll start chatting. So
Yes.
it starts off as a shimmering, joyful new novel about a pair of opposites with the wrong thing in common. So, Daphne always loved the way her fiance Peter told their story, how they met on a blustery day, fell in love over an errant hat, and moved back to his lakeside hometown to begin their life together. He really was good at telling it, right up until the moment he realized he was actually in love with his childhood best friend, Petra. Boo, Petra.
Boo.
Which is how Daphne begins her new story. Stranded in beautiful Waning Bay, Michigan. We're going to call it Waning Bay because I don't know how it's pronounced and it's not a real place, so can't Google it. Without friends or family, but with a dream job as a children's librarian that barely pays the bills, and proposing to be roommates with the only person who could possibly understand her predicament, Petra's ex, Miles Noack. Noack? Noack.
I
Whatever.
think Noik sounds better, yeah.
Yeah. Scruffy and chaotic with a penchant for taking solace in the sounds of heartbreak love ballads, Miles is exactly the opposite of practical buttoned up Daphne, whose coworkers know so little about her they have a running bet that she's either FBI or in witness protection. The roommates mainly avoid one another until one day, while drowning their sorrows, they form a tenuous friendship and a plan. If said plan also involves posting deliberately misleading photos of their summer adventures together, well, who could blame them? But it's all just for show, of course, because there's no way Daphne would actually start her new chapter by falling in love with her ex fiance's new fiance's ex, right? Right?
Oh, it's so fun.
I
The whole
just
I loved
loved this.
yeah, reading the synopsis before I jumped into it, I was so ready. And it kind of seemed like maybe it had the potential to be like a little goofy or whatever, so I wasn't sure if I was going to be like, but no, I fell right into it. And I'm going to premise this with like I've only read Book Lovers. I read Book Lovers on my vacation last week. Hi, sorry for not uploading last week. I was ziplining in the mountains of Tennessee, but I read Book
Looks so
Lovers on the
cool.
plane and it was awesome. I loved it. It was my segue into Emily Henry and now I'm like obsessed with her. So
Yeah.
I wanted to know what to expect with Funny Story, but I ended up, really liking Funny Story also as well. You've
hmm
read all of Emily Henry's books, have you not?
I have, and all of Ali. Like, I am a contemporary romance girly. I'm trying to like get more into the scene. We're testing out some Elsie Silver now. I'm not a cowboy romance girl, but we're gonna see. You've not really read any contemporary romance.
No.
This is like the first time.
Yeah, mine's always like
hmm
romanticy or like some kind of like fantastical element with like some smut thrown in there,
Yeah,
But it's
gotta have
never just like
wings or like a tail. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, exactly. Like magical abilities,
hmm
something crazy. But I've never gotten into just like a contemporary romance. So I feel like this was like a really good like segue into
This is
that
a
and
nice way to jump in for sure.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it and now I want to read all of them. and I probably will read all of them, to be honest. But we'll start off with the setting. I loved this little town that she
I did
made
too.
in Michigan.
The imagery was so good.
It really was. Like, you really want to be a part of it. I don't know about
Mhm.
you, but I just really felt like it was just alive around me. Like,
I
you can
did
like
too.
picture like the winery, the library she works at, the
Yeah.
little cottages that she passes by.
Everything's farm to table. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I Googled it because I was like, wow, this would be a great place for a vacation. And surprise, it's not real.
Of course not.
So that sucked. And I really feel like the Miles being a tour guide aspect throughout this book, which we'll talk about a little bit more later, like, he made me fall in love with this place the same way he made Daphne
Right.
fall in love with it. And it's just
It was
precious.
I feel like Emily did a really good job of just setting the scene and making you feel really like cozy and at home in their little apartment, and also just like enjoying the vibe of the library and just all of these little tidbits
Right
around
on
the
the lake,
town.
little coastal town.
Yes,
Yeah,
like
just
it was so
cute.
nice. It definitely sounds like a place that you'd want to go if, of course, it was real. I don't know if, real small town Michigan towns are like this.
We're gonna have to try this out. We're gonna have to go somewhere in a small Michigan town and have like our, contemporary romance girl dinner vacation.
Yeah, right. It's definitely gonna need to happen. Except
Yeah.
we can just like, I don't know. I guess we can just leave our men in the hotel room,
Yeah.
and then we can just seek out a new hot pothead to fall in love with. No, I'm just kidding.
Go hit up the wineries with the hot druggy bartenders.
Yeah, it's fine. Oh,
Oh
my
God.
gosh. But yeah, so setting overall, great vibes, loved it. It was the bomb. The plot, how did you feel about it? Pacing wise.
I thought it was paced really well. I mean, I was kind of like chomping at the bit for them to finally like, all right, let's go. Why aren't we making out? Like, for real this time.
It's like you got the two Barbies and you're like, love each other.
Is smashing their faces together. Yeah, that was basically me for half of this. Which, that's not to say that it was not paced well. It was paced perfectly. I'm just impatient. I am not a patient person. So yeah,
you're an impatient, slow burn lover. It's like the worst combination of
I want to
things, 'cause
torture
I'm the
myself
same
when
way.
I'm reading. I need to feel the pain.
I understand. Yeah, I feel that. I'm on board with that.
I want hard angst. Yeah, I thought it was super cute. I was, of course, devastated for Daphne within the first couple pages because she's just like talking about, what a wonderful storyteller her fiance is. And then it's like, and also like, he's leaving me.
Yeah, and she's like curled up on the couch when he comes home to be like, yeah, so turns out I want to be with my girly best friend, which I'm not saying that men can't have girl best friends from like childhood, but I haven't met one that has had one.
Maybe not from childhood. I don't know. I mean, I have a male best friend. I have a Mitchell.
Yeah, that's true.
And I lived with him. He was my roommate. There was no angsty roommate sexual tension though, ever at any point.
Exactly.
Because we're just buds. We're just buds.
But it's just like, I don't know, I just found it strange that she, like, this girly best friend was like, I'm going to the bachelor party. Like, I don't know.
I can't say much because I've been that girl best friend and I've done that.
Fair. Okay.
But I also didn't
steal him?
Yeah, I didn't try and steal the groom. So I didn't confess my love for the groom at 2 a.m.
Yeah, she does a very good job of setting it up to where you're definitely on Daphne's side and you are just as pissed as she is. Like, I love the beginning of the book because her reaction, like, we're obviously, not doing spoilers and stuff, but like little tidbits is she's pretty upset, of course, and I think she throws like almonds at them or something as they're like driving away.
Just chucking handfuls of nuts in their car.
And I'm like, same. Like,
Mhm.
how would you be in this relationship without losing your mind? With having your man be like, oh, we've just been besties for the resty. Don't worry, girly pop. We're just vibing, whatever. And then he comes home to be like, oh, actually, I love her. I would be like, not throwing almonds. I would be like, get out.
I'd be
I never
throwing
want to see your face again.
lamps,
Yeah.
plates, paperweights.
The sledgehammer would come out and the walls would be coming down. Do
I
you
have a
feel?
medieval flail in my closet that would be making a reappearance.
I have swords.
Yeah, I mean, and
Oh
the
my
fact that she
God.
was just like so patient and trusting their whole
Oh
relationship,
yeah.
thinking like, oh, there's
Yeah.
no way. He's always reassured me. He's given me no reason not to trust him. And then to have that thrown in your face, like right before your wedding. Oh my God,
For
heartbreaking.
sure. To tie in with the pacing, I thoroughly enjoyed her progression of going through and kind of coming to terms with how this relationship ended and how shitty all of it was in the first place. And then
Yeah.
also how this new relationship starts to develop with Miles. I felt like it was really organic. I felt like, it took weeks before they really even started spending time together, really at all.
Yeah, even
So I feel
acknowledging
like,
each other's presence.
right. And
Other
it's
than
funny how,
I was gonna say, other than her having to like go and knock on his door and be like, "Hey, can you turn down the
yeah.
the all by
the,
myself right now?"
yeah, the sad music that you're playing. I thought it was hilarious to watch how they both were like dealing with it and how that like progressed. They have a great relationship progression and it's just like you're just so involved in everything
Mhm.
and it's great. I loved it.
Yeah,
The
I
plot was
also
banging. There
I'll
was
say I
no
eat up fake dating
lulls.
too. Fake
Yeah.
dating and forced proximity; those are some of my favorite tropes.
Mhm.
And then another thing that was nice in this is they both had some familial drama.
Yes.
They had issues with their respective families, and the fact that they were able to overcome like all of the trauma that they had together and like work through their issues in a healthy way. Like, yes, they did have their toxic moments. Everybody does, I think. But
Oh, yeah, for sure. We're human.
yeah, but they acknowledged it. They were able to move past it.
Mhm.
I loved that.
Yeah,
There's a lot of great
definitely.
character growth in this.
There is, and the characters themselves are really great. I love the way that she writes all of her characters. I really enjoyed it in Book Lovers, and I feel like I got even more with
Mhm.
Funny Story of, the main character, Daphne. The things that she likes and dislikes and the decisions that she makes really ties into these little tidbits you get of like her past. And I
Mhm.
think that it's really cleverly done. It's not jarring at all. It's like really fluid and how she gets like little like flashback moments or like little things like that that go through it.
It
And
doesn't
I
feel
thought
like
that
there's
that
big
was
expedition or expedition exposition dumps, like where she's like,
yeah,
oh, okay,
definitely.
I did
It
this and then this is why. It's like you already know why, and you see
yeah,
her getting upset and you're like, oh yeah, that's because of this and all of the
right.
trauma that she went through.
Yeah.
They're very flawed and well rounded. I think these
Hmm.
are like the most, I don't know. I mean, I guess some of the other characters and some of her other books had some issues, but like I feel like these characters felt super real to me because they were more relatable to
Right.
my
I
life.
feel that. Yes, same. I'm like, okay, like we can see this. The male main character, Miles, is in the service industry. He's
Mhm.
also a cute little pothead. He's not this dude who like has it all together and is, got a fat bank account and everything is like picture
Yeah.
perfect and stuff. That's how her fiance is, Peter. And look how that turned out, type
Yeah.
of thing. So I
And
do feel that.
Miles is totally like, for both of us, Miles is just like 100% the type of guy that we that we date, that we
Yep.
go for. He is our type. I had watched, what was it, Haley Pham's review of this, but it was like mixed in with a few other things. And
Hmm.
she talked about how he was like compared to a character in New Girl, which I know like a little bit about from like watching clips. I've never actually watched New Girl. I've just
Me
seen like bits
either.
and pieces. Um, and she also started off not really loving him. I
Hmm.
loved him immediately from the
Yeah.
second we were introduced to him. Pot smoke, Afghan pulled over his shoulders like a cape,
Yep.
belting all by myself. Or no, he wasn't belting all by myself. It was like a Bridget Jones movie. Like,
Yeah.
we're
And
a
he was
few
just
pages in and
rewinding
I
the
love
same
him.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was perfect.
And he only gets better. And
Hmm.
that's the other thing that I love is you're getting this steady progression of the both of them together as they work through their stuff, the different ways that they work through it, the different flaws that each of them have. Like,
Yeah,
it's just such a good little love story between the two of them.
it
And it's
was.
also hilarious. Like, there's just so many points where, I'm cracking up. Aside from Daphne and Miles, we have a whole cast of side characters.
And they're all so
And
cute.
they
I
are
really
all
loved all of them
great.
this time.
Yes, really. Like, all of them were memorable. They all played their parts very well. I loved them. They added a lot of really great like tidbits to the story.
A lot of comedic relief.
Mhm.
And also for me, like there were two that stood out more than the rest, which I'm sure it was the same for you. They were like the most
Yeah.
prominent side characters. But Ashley and was it Julia?
Julia, yeah.
Yeah,
Miles' sister.
yeah. They, I mean, they
They have
both
distinctive personalities and it's great.
they do. They're big, loud personalities, and also
Oh
like
yeah.
we do get to see a little bit into their lives and the things that they've been through that made them the way that they are, and how that
Mhm.
helps them relate to our main characters. And
Yes.
I don't know. I loved Ashley so much. I loved her
Me
so
too.
much.
And I felt like their pairing was done very well because Daphne is not this big, loud type of person. She's
No,
very
she's
reserved.
very, very reserved,
Yes, she keeps to
buttoned up.
herself. She does her own thing. She's straight edge, and Ashley is not like that. Like, she is very like loud, outspoken. She doesn't care. Like, she's very like to the point. Like, she's going to give it to you how it is, and
Yeah,
she's just fun. Like, my favorite description of her was them talking about like this creepy dude that like comes into the library and like made some comment towards her, and she like doesn't even look up from what she's doing, and she's like, say that to me again and I'll have you banned on the premise of sexual harassment. If you'd like, I can recommend you some literature so you can
yeah,
learn what that means.
yeah. And the fact that Daphne describes her initially as being like very intimidating and being scared
Yeah.
of her, and I'm like, yeah, that's my kind of lady.
Yeah, they worked together for like over a year before they even really start to consider becoming friends or anything. So, yeah, I thought that they were really great. And on the flip side of the characters that we super loved, you have the ex-fiancés, Peter and Petra, which, oh my god, every time these people show up in the book, you just want to kick them in
They're
their
horrible.
face.
They're
I
horrible.
hate
They're
them.
well, Peter's condescending. Petra is
Yes.
like, I don't know. She didn't really give me a reason not to like her other than what she did to Miles. Like, she seems like a
Yeah.
nice person, but she also seems like really flighty and kind of just inconsiderate. She gave me Elaine
Mhm.
vibes from
Yeah.
ACOTAR.
Just
Like
like living in her own world. Like, oh, what?
like malicious
Like,
incompetence a little bit. Yeah.
yes, yes, just a bit. So yeah, every time they popped up, I was like, fall off
Yeah.
the boat, drown.
Yeah,
Like,
I wanted to knee Peter right in the, you know,
I think
you
I
know.
think when I was like reading a bit of it, I like had said something to you, and I'm like, dude, every time he comes up, like, I just want to hit him in the dick. Why does he even have one? He doesn't deserve it. I hate him. I do not like this man. Why
Yeah,
was she
he's
even with him in the
the
first place?
worst.
He
The
is
worst.
God. It's just not it. Which is hilarious because she did a really good job of giving you this character who's like, he's really hot. He has everything together. He's like, oh yeah, let me take care of you. But
Yeah.
it's like, that's not everything in a partner by any stretch of the imagination, because there's a lot
No.
of flaws that he has, an excessive amount, I would venture to say, that has led to this situation. But we don't want to get too much into that. You need to read this book.
For me, I have always loved Book Lovers the most out of
Hmm.
Emily Henry's books. It was like my top tier. That and then Beach Read right below it. This has dethroned it. This man was like handcrafted for me in like my real
Yeah.
life. Um, and normally I read fantasy romance or contemporary romance as like a form of escapism. You know, you want something that's
Hmm.
not realistic. This was realistic and I loved it. So
Yeah.
this was a 5-star read for me.
I feel pretty much the same way. I felt like I was really engaged in the story. It elicited a whole lot of emotion from me. I was angry for her. I was super happy for her as things went on. It was very like a push and pull as, different things happened towards the end, and a hell of a lot of laughs. Like
Yeah,
this
I
is the
laughed out
first
loud a
book that
lot.
I've yeah, this is the first book I've read in a while when I was like consistently laughing out loud. I scared the shit out of Matt a couple of times because I just like cackled and he was like, "What the what? Like, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is just
I am.
hilarious." And so 5 stars for me for sure. I super loved Book Lovers, but yeah, I have to say that Funny Story was even
Yeah.
better. I can't compare it to any of her others, of course, but Miles really was such a great character, and their love story in general was just perfect.
I feel like
So,
this is going to be a hot take because I don't know. I just have a feeling that a lot of other people are going to have the total opposite opinion.
right? It's like
This.
why do we love the mediocre white men who are potheads? I mean, come
I
on.
mean,
Like,
I'm all
I don't
for
know.
like sexualizing the service industry. Men that are like good bartenders, good servers, like
Right. They have great
that's hot.
personalities. They're
That's
very
sexy.
charismatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think charisma is a very important trait in a man.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he
Well,
is
also
extremely
like
charismatic.
there are a lot of other things that go along with working in the service industry and being good at it. Like, you have to be really
Yeah.
detail oriented, you have to be attentive,
Mhm.
and you have to be like great at time management. And these are all things that make a really good partner. And so
Yeah.
sometimes, I don't know, I've worked in the service industry up until last year, and I cannot tell you how many times I ended up like having a crush on another bartender that I worked with, or dated another bartender that I worked with and maybe I wasn't supposed to be dating. This is my vibe.
Overall, though, competent, well rounded, charismatic men who smoke a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of weed.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's good. So, yeah, go read it. If you haven't read it yet, you're going to pick it up and not put it down. I would hope. I don't know. You should. I mean, you may not love it as much as we do, but it's pretty top tier. I'm not going to lie. If you want a more realistic, down to earth type of love interest, this is definitely for you because
Yeah.
it just feels real, man. Okay? It's that good shit. But that's it. That's it for the spoiler free. So go read it. And if you don't want spoilers,
Get out, get
then
on, get
yeah,
out.
get your little butt cheeks out
We'll see you
because
next time.
we're about to jump into a whole lot of things. So
Let me
we
get my
love your
phone with
face.
my notes.
Yeah, and same. I'm like, girl, I have some things to say. Okay, I feel like this is going to be the longest spoiler section that we've had in a episode so far. So, buckle up,
Okay.
folks. What do
So
you want to start with?
I've got some quotes that we need to talk about.
Okay.
When they first decide that they're going to have like their whole little fake dating thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Miles is talking about like, well, we could just, do the thing. And she's like, yeah, a shared cuckolding is the most fertile ground from which love could ever spring. Made me cackle. Also, Miles in my brain is Cliff from Bring It On.
Nice.
Have you seen Bring It On? The original Bring It On?
Yes. A
Yeah.
long time ago.
I was
But
in love
yes.
with him. I was in love with that man, and this is how I imagined him the entire book, but with a beard. And
Oh my god.
was eating it up. Okay, and then there's another quote that was not Miles. It was Harvey, her boss, who I also loved,
Oh, I
even though he
love
didn't get a lot of page
Harvey.
time. Yeah,
Yes,
he
dude.
was
Every time he
wonderful.
showed up, you were like, "You're such a sweet little old man. What are you doing, you little Morgan
Yeah.
Freeman knockoff?"
Oh my god, yeah. So when he is talking to Daphne and is like, it's a library, Daphne. If you can't be human here, where can you?
I know. Dude, they really did such a good job of like making the library like this sanctuary for so many people, along with the whole like little subplot storyline of like her and the little 12-year-old girl who's like really shy, and she has like this one-on-one book club with her and is like
Yeah.
really making it a safe place for her, and the little girl ends up like opening up towards the end of the book and is like hanging out with like this other kid that was like in the book club or whatever.
Yeah.
I just thought that
In the
that was
young adult
so
book club.
freaking sweet.
I did
Yes.
too. Also,
It
I
was
was that kid at
adorable.
12 years old, so it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that one got me in the feels.
It
Oh,
was cute and relatable.
yeah, so when they're hanging out in the apartment and she had like just showered and is in like her little silk pajamas, I think that's when this happens, where she says, "Speaking of perfect timing, my nipples chose that instant to stand at attention like eager little meerkats." What? This is almost as good as, what is it? The
Oh
love
my
hypothesis where he puts her entire boob in his mouth. that's
god.
that's Allie Hazelwood, but yeah. Or
Unhinges his jaw like a serpent to
what is it?
go down on that
The
titty.
the Winter King, C.L. Wilson, where he describes the main female character's boob as a plump little pigeon. It's, I don't know. Things like this just really get me in the giggles. Like, oh god.
Like,
Okay.
why are we comparing it to animals? Like,
I
what
don't
the hell
know.
is going on
Because
here?
we're out of
Oh
tension. I
my
don't know, man.
god. I'm gonna like hit my husband with that. I'm gonna be like, yeah. Do I I can't even say it. I can't
My,
even get it out
my
of my
nipples are
mouth.
so hard they look like perky little meerkats.
Oh my
Oh,
god, I'm
Jesus.
done with this. Oh, sorry about
Okay.
that, y'all.
Yeah.
Woo, okay. I want to talk about Julie.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
I feel like Julie came in like a wrecking ball, and it was the best.
She literally did. Came in
Yeah, she just
screaming.
flops right in there, tosses her bag in, doesn't give a shit. Everything she says is hilarious. She's just very outspoken and she just does not care. And honestly, my favorite like little tidbit in the whole book was Miles talking about how the both of them, both he and his sister Julia, have like connection issues basically, like with other
Mhm.
people or whatever, and that his sister Julia broke up with a man because he said he loved Mamma Mia 2 more than the original Mamma Mia. And Daphne's like, oh, like what? And he's like, yeah, she's never even seen either of the Mamma Mias. She just felt like having such strong convictions about it was a red flag, so she dumped him.
Which, spot on.
Yeah, fair.
Oh my god.
But that
Or,
that killed me.
whoops. Yeah, or Ashley not dating that guy, or like never calling him again because he had fish posters and made her listen to an entire fish album in the car before
Yeah,
he
they
dropped
like
her
rolled
off.
up to his house and then he made her sit there and listen for the next 20 minutes to
Oh my
finish out the
god.
album before they could go in. Oh yeah, I
That
was dead.
cracked me up. Oh, okay. So I about lost it. I was like in tears when not Peter, ugh, why did I say Peter? When Miles showed up to the library for story hour.
Yes. It was
Oh my
so
god.
cute.
And he was
Dude.
like so impressed because she did all the voices.
Yeah.
And he brought Julia and like, oh my god, I just.
It was just adorable. He really hyped up the things that she did. And that's one thing that Daphne does through the whole book is, she really downplays a lot of what she's doing while he really plays it up and is like, what you're doing is kind of magical. You're really great at it. Like,
Yeah.
why are you putting yourself down so much, type of thing. So that was great. So with the relationship progression, I feel like in romances, there can be like stupid fights that happen, for them to just get back together afterwards. And I don't feel like that's what happened in this. Like, there was a lot going on, but everything that they did back and forth, every time they started to get together, it was like, oh, yeah, we want each other, but also like, shit, you could be a rebound. Like, you're a good person. Like, I don't want to like accidentally do that to you,
Yeah,
which
they were all like
relatable,
real concerns.
Right.
It felt real. We've said that 1,000 times now, but yeah, it felt real.
It was
Or
really nice and refreshing.
or like during their relationship, like when he was taking her to his super secret beach spot and they like went and got
Yes.
like cheese fries and milkshakes and went and got
Mhm.
stoned by the lake at like
Yeah.
some super secret beach spot. I'm like, I've done that. I've had those
Yeah.
dates. I've taken people to my super secret lake spot
It was
to
really cute.
yeah, I'm just like I would
It was
have
such a good
I would have
time.
melted on that date.
Oh, same. So, outside of things that are positive, let's talk about, some of the sadder things that take place. Like her missing Ashley's birthday.
Oh my God. Yeah,
I thought that was like heartbreaking,
it was.
but also I really loved that she included this in the story because it really just goes to show that sometimes we partake in the flaws that we hate the most
Mhm.
without even realizing it, type
Yeah.
of thing. And I felt that just added yet another layer of depth to her. And then also it was really cute when they made up.
It was. I like that she took ownership of it. She's like, God, this thing that like I've been getting so mad at other people for, and that she had
Specifically her
also,
dad.
well, yeah, and then also that she had just gotten so mad at Miles about. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
I did the same thing, and like sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that somebody doesn't care. It just means that like maybe something came up. Not everybody is your dad,
Right.
and that is something I wanted to say about Daphne earlier, but didn't necessarily want to touch on because it is a little
It's kind of like a
spoilery.
crucial part, yeah, with,
Um,
a lot of the issues that she has stem from her dad and,
mhm.
how horrible he was.
Well, yeah, and it's the shitty thing is that like yeah, he was awful, but like he's not an awful person, you know?
No,
Like
he's not abusive. He's just flighty and irresponsible and kind
mhm.
of immature.
Yeah. But I related to that so hard because like I too was raised by like a really strong single mom, and it was always just me and her. And my dad is also, to be as polite as possible, kind of an absentee father. So like
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I get why she would
Yeah.
get so bent out of shape about some of those things, and like I really felt for
Yeah, for
her.
sure. Okay, so towards the end of the book, when Peter shows up to let him know that him and Petra have broken up, right? And like when Miles doesn't show up to pick her up, right? And she like gets home and everything. What were you thinking was going on? Like,
So I had no idea what he was actually doing. I did not
mhm,
think that that's what was happening. But I didn't think that he was getting back with Petra. I do think that he
mhm.
maybe went to help her because she was like probably distraught.
Yeah.
And they were really close friends. And like I am not the kind of person that's like, yeah, nobody should ever be friends with their exes ever. I do think there are
Oh yeah, for
circumstances to
sure.
where it's you can be friends with those people,
Yeah,
especially if you
definitely.
were friends first. Like obviously there's some things about that person that you really liked and maybe it shouldn't work out, but that doesn't mean you
You
have
have
to
to
never
stop
talk to them
like speaking
again.
to each other. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I also thought it spoke a lot about his character that even after everything she put him through, that he would go and be like, okay, yeah, I know you're in a crap situation. I'll help you move out of this
Right.
house right now. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I thought he was there. I did not think he was getting back with Petra.
Okay, fair. I didn't really think that he was going to get back with her either, but I kind of got this like vibe of like, oh no, like he's putting Petra before her and maybe he is still a little conflicted about, what he should be doing and maybe contemplating whether or not they should be together because at first I was like, "Oh, well maybe he'll just show up late." But like he didn't even come home. And so I was like,
Yeah.
like, are we gonna have to go through like a little forgiveness thing where he like slept with her one last time type of deal?
Oh
Like
my God.
what's
Yeah, I think I
what's
would have been
going
pretty
on
upset
here?
if that were the case.
Yeah,
And to
I
be fair,
was
I was mad at
definitely
him. I was mad at
oh,
him for that.
same. Yeah, definitely. And so I was just like, "Oh, okay." And I did not expect the reveal of like what actually happened at all, not even a little bit. I did not see that coming. Him actually going and driving to go find her dad and chew his ass out and then having to like stay up there with them before he came back and stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
"Why?"
Yeah. I
It was so sweet.
It was. It was. So many of the things that happen in this book, like the acts of service, the just like the little things that Miles did. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was really adorable. Like paying attention to just like her drink order and her little calendar that she has up and everything and
Yeah.
all that shit. So, what did you think about Starfire?
I thought she was a hoot. I thought she was a great time. But the whole like, honey, you can call me mom after hanging out for one day thing, I'm like,
Yeah,
no. No, I
God.
can't.
She was just so tone deaf. I was cracking up so hard at her making fun of her for like the Titanic thing, where she's just like, "Oh, like the movie," and Starfire is like, "What?
Yeah.
What movie?"
Or yeah, when she said something and Daphne was like, "Yeah, well, it's completely understandable after everything she went through on the Titanic." I was crying laughing. That part actually made me like I was
Yeah,
rolling around on the couch.
yeah, that was definitely a lie. That ooh, that murdered me. Oh my god. So let's wrap it up with one last question then. Did you think Peter and Petra were actually going to break up in the end? Did you
I
see
kind
that
of
coming?
did. Yeah.
Really? You were kind of like,
Because
were you like hoping for it? Like,
so yes, I was hoping for it because I'm petty,
hmm,
but
yeah, same.
also I just don't feel like most relationships that start on a whim like that have a solid
Hmm.
foundation.
Right. I
Yeah.
feel that.
So
I wasn't sure what to expect,
I was
but I
thinking that
get
he
what
was
you're
having
saying.
like he was having cold feet. She
Hmm.
was like, "Oh my god, our lives are about to change. This person I've been friends with my whole life." I think they just were a little freaked out and
Hmm.
thought that that was what they wanted. But yeah, I did feel like they were going to probably break
It
up. I
was
didn't think they were going to
some
last.
Yeah, it was some cosmic justice though. Like them coming back around to be like, "Oh yeah, no, actually, oops." Like
Mhm.
fuck that shit. And to have Peter come back and be so entitled to be like, "Oh yeah, obviously you don't want
We're
to live in an apartment with this
yeah.
guy who works in a winery and smokes weed. Like
We're
why would
totally
you
going to get
want
back
that?"
together, duh. Like no.
Yeah, exactly. Like telling her what's going to happen and I'm just like, kick him to the curb. Block his number. Never see him again, even though you probably will in this tiny ass town. But like,
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I was surprised he was able to walk up the stairs to their apartment under the weight of all of that audacity. Like, excuse me.
I literally put every time Peter showed up, I wanted to punch him in the wiener. That's all. Like,
Yeah, no, there are many parts of my notes where I'm just like, wow, these people suck.
yeah, literally.
In more colorful
But
phrasing, but trying to keep it
yeah,
remotely PG.
yeah, I
Yeah.
need to do a better job at keeping it PG. PG is just not really my forte. In real
PG
life, I'm a
13.
hardcore. Yeah, on a good day, I'm a PG-13. On a typical day, I'm definitely like a rated R. I was gonna say what is that one? The NR
And
17 or whatever.
NA and
Yeah,
something.
I don't know how movie ratings
NC
work.
17. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
something like that. Anyway, now that we've botched that joke, we should go ahead and wrap this shit up.
Yeah. Bye. Just kidding.
Bye. Oh my god. So yes, for the millionth time, read this book. It's
Mhm.
great. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you loved it, you hated it. Obviously, everybody's opinions are different. And if you didn't like it, then I definitely want to know why. Was it because Miles is a little pothead, or did it just not, strike your little fancy? What was the deal there?
I love that
But
all of the grievances you've mentioned are like little little things that do not
yeah, it's
strike your
like,
little fancy.
yeah, you're a little fancy. I mean, like, come on. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with him. So, like, I dare you to say something. No, I'm just kidding.
I will go to bat for this man, this fictional man.
This fictional man, he is competing with my husband right now. But anyway, once again, if you enjoyed this episode, please follow us wherever you're listening. Like, subscribe, do that kind of thing. We post videos every Tuesday, and we, are just all about this random bookish content. So, yeah, thanks you all for listening. We appreciate the hell out of you, and we will see you all in the next episode.
Bye.